Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I am so excited to have you here. I have finally got round to starting my first out-of-the-box look at the new Haslab that arrived last week. We have Optimus Prime in fire truck mode. We have Ultra Magnus in car carrier mode. We have Blue Bolts in her Blue Bolts mode. I had to add a kneeling on the top there just so I could fit her into the shot, because there's a lot here, so I'm proper zoomed out. So if quality of visuals isn't as high as it normally is, please don't worry, because I'm going to go down to one item in a moment. But in the short term, I just wanted to get everything that I could into this particular shot, because this is where we begin in earnest. So I've managed to get everything out of the box and put all the little bits and pieces on, and I just wanted to show you the three of them together in this shot before I start looking at them as individuals, and then of course before we combine them into Omega Prime. This will be done over several videos, because I want to, as I've explained in previous Haslab videos, this is a big purchase. It's a big purchase with a lot included within the offering. So I really want to do each item justice and not just sort of do a 20-30 minute video that covers everything, wham bam, thank you, and doesn't sort of linger on stuff. Particularly this one, because this one has been a bit contentious, as various people have received theirs early or earlier in the dispatch cycle. We know there have been issues and problems. Now, I have answered some questions already. At the point that this goes out, I will not have finished all of my videos for this. So feel free to message me either on Instagram or leave a comment on YouTube here if you have any questions about these, and I will endeavour to answer those personally in my last video on this set. Okay? If there's a lot of questions, I might do just a separate Q&A video where I answer the questions that have come in. But otherwise, my intention is to integrate it into the last video. That's entirely down to any questions that I get, etc. But yes, we know there's been controversies. We know there's been controversies with Optimus Prime, particularly on a brittle plastic / poorly designed joint. We know that there's been coloration issues with Ultra Magnus, particularly around the ice white elements of the cab. I think Blue Bolts has got away scot-free, to be perfectly honest. So well done, Blue Bolts. Welcome to the team. But these look incredible. I know so far we've had a butcher's at them in the boxes and in the boxed up arrangements, but I have to say, even messing with Blue Bolts here, because again, weaponizer's not really my thing, and I thought, oh, it's a bit of a gimmick. They've just, to try and flesh out the offer, they're giving us a weapon system that's they've sort of tweaked into its own robot. She's brilliant. I really love it. There's character in that. I mean, we're going to look at her separately in her own right, but look at that face. Look at that face sculpt. She's gorgeous. There's so much going on here. The design, the articulation, the characterization in the articulation. I think this is an underrepresented hidden gem in this set, and I don't think I've seen anyone wax lyrically about Blue Bolts as much as I'm afraid I might do, even with her crazy feet. I love those sort of winkle picker shoes that she's wearing. Yeah, fantastic. More on Blue Bolts in the future. I won't be able to get her to kneel down again, so I'm just going to sort of pop her in the corner. So apparently nobody except me puts Blue Bolts in the corner. We have Ultra Magnus. I haven't conjoined the Space Bridge display bases for the purposes of this particular aspect of the video. I'll probably do it for Optimus, but you can see they're out. I have put this sort of rim in. It's very nice. I mean, it's take it or leave it kind of thing, really. It's nice to have. If we didn't have it, we wouldn't miss it, if you know what I mean. But it's nice we have it. It's very consistent with the other Transformer Haslabs in that they've given us a display base. Would I have liked it to have a bit more colour? I think the fact that I'm asking the question means the answer is probably yes. but maybe, just maybe, toy hacks or something. I don't always do a lot with toy hacks unless it's a really special reason, but I'm going to have to say I've enjoyed messing with this, particularly because I needed to check the things were working and think that, or not working, and be very mindful around that. And so perhaps more than the others, I've had this out in my hands more pre-videoing than I have in other situations. But I do have to say that I think I would get some toy hacks decals for these, because I think they might elevate it. They look fine. I just feel that the set's so good overall and so engageable with that I think this needs to be pulled. Something just needs to be this needs a bit more. I'm greedy. I want more on this. A bit of paint would have been nice, but toy hacks might be the answer. But anyway, here we have Ultra Magnus with his fantastic chromed up mega bumper. There's elements the way I actually think he could possibly fit a car in there. Can you believe it? Certainly along the top you can. So Ultra Magnus, what a winner. And of course Optimus Prime in his fire truck mode. I have already taken out and installed Cerebros here, and we'll talk a bit more about him a little bit later on actually, because Optimus is the one we're going to look at first. That seems appropriate. So let me just nip down a bit. Yep, so there they all are. These are the key characters as they appeared in their boxes, to be fair, complete with some of the key accessories that we've received for this. But for now, my focus in this box set is going to be Optimus Prime. So if you're looking for more Ultra Magnus stuff or Blue Bolts or Omega Prime, that's coming in a future video. Won't be far in the future, but it's coming in a future video. But for today's video, we're looking at perhaps the most contentious ever release in a Haslab for various reasons, and that's our Optimus Prime. So let's get him over the space bridge. And here we have Optimus Prime on the single space bridge. So we can join the two together, and it's obviously large enough to take the vehicle mode of our key star figures. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do for this is we'll take a nice detailed look around the vehicle. Then I will be transforming the core robot mode. Then I'll look at setting up the base mode. Then I'll look at doing the combined mode, the super mode for Optimus Prime. So all of this is going to be very Optimus focused. It won't come as a huge surprise to you. I don't think that that's going to be the case here. But first of all, I have to say, and I've said it in a previous video and some others as well, I don't think I've ever been quite as apprehensive and excited to get a Haslab in my life, or indeed anything in my life, because of all of the known issues with Optimus Prime. Just so you know, before you put it in the comments, I haven't put the connectors on here yet, because in a moment I'm going to get rid of this for the purposes of working on this vehicle. But I just wanted you to see what it looked like side by side. It makes no technical odds. But this really is, in my opinion, one of the best vehicle modes I've ever seen. And I'm not a fan of Optimus Prime not being a truck, you know. And I don't mean fire truck. I mean, to me, Optimus Prime was always a truck. When I was growing up, he was a truck. And Robots in Disguise is after my time as a collector, as a child, as an enjoyer of the media. I'd left all that behind me. So this is not a figure or a look that meant anything to me. And I nearly passed it up. I nearly went, I don't want it. I don't need it. It doesn't mean anything to me. I'm so glad I didn't. I'm so glad I didn't, because it really is. I mean, first of all, it's really heavy. And I'm sort of trying to take a moment to sort of show off the detailing on the panels around the edges, the detailing that's all over. You've got the little staircase there, the detailing around the turret part there. Now, I know we've got a head sticking out there, and I know that that's in keeping with the original toy and indeed the media. But it does just look like a couple of hose attachments in this mode. You know, it's easily a lot. I think if you suspend disbelief enough that this is a robot disguised as a fire truck, you know, get over that, then I think you can kind of go, yeah, it's just part of the machinery. You can actually, if you wished, if you move his head out of the way for a second, you can kind of flip these side rails up, and they obscure that. So if you wanted to, that's an option. If you were thinking, oh, I don't really want that on display, you can potentially flip those side rails up and have that not on display at all. You can see the fists there, but again, it doesn't really bother me that you can see them. They're far enough in to not be an issue, and again, it just looks like sort of storage compartments on the back of the truck. So for me, it's not really a problem. I've pre-installed his gun here. You can see it. It just literally tabs in. I was trying to work out how to do it because everyone says, oh, it slots in. It doesn't slot in. People who say it's slot in, they're being disingenuous. Ish, they're not really, but it's actually, it tabs in here at the front. I was looking for a slot up there where I could put the handle, but that isn't it at all. There's literally in the bumper here, there's a small indentation, which is where the back end of the pistol will actually fit. And I'll show that a bit more obviously later. But yeah, that was misleading as far as I was concerned. The underside, as you can see as we're here, it doesn't really scream there's a robot hidden here. You know, it looks quite underside trucky as far as I'm concerned. Various pipes and this, that and the other. So again, really lovely. Turning to the front, who doesn't love the detailing around here? So we've got the lights pulled out there in the amber and the silver. We've got the license plate C001, which was I think the Japanese identifier for this figure. The wonderful blue translucent plastic here for the massive cab. What's really nice is you can see the molded in seats there. You can't really see any robot action through those windows, and we carry on. I mean, this side is pretty much, in the truck element at least, the same. We do have the seat here at the base of the sort of tower area, the ladder, where I've put Cerebros, who I'll get out of there second. But he does tab in. There's two holes in his feet. He tabs into there really securely. But yeah, interesting to have like a Titan Master, Headmaster in this set. I don't know if we're supposed to read into that it's some kind of clue to the future, because it was a really strange late addition to the piece. And it's a very curious choice of piece. And the fact that he's called Cerebros, because unless I've got my media muddled up, certainly with my Fortress Maximus, that Cerebros is the robot component of the head, and its emissary is the tiny Micromaster, is the tiny Headmaster that goes into Cerebros, that goes onto Fortress Maximus. So if he is Cerebros, what does that tell us about the future, folks? Ponder below. So yeah, lovely. Then we get the ladder. Now the ladder's on a fantastic clicky ratchet. We can rotate it here. It's on a softer ratchet here, but you can rotate it round for fire engine play. You can, as I'm sure you've probably already seen from other people's videos, you can extend it outwards, but it's quite stiff still on mine. So, and if I do it, it's going to end up crashing into the display base, but I'll try and do it for photos later. We also have this section here at the top. Again, it has these fold-out water cannons. I just love the detailing on it. That's why I wanted to show you more than anything else. The detailing on this is really lovely. It's pulled out in that almost chrome silver, but it's really nice. And yet we have these twin, I suppose they're water cannons. I suppose they are. Let me lift it up and we can take a look specifically at that. But they're on ball joints, so we can angle them around and so on and so forth. We can also turn this into a bucket if you like, and Cerebros can also sit in there. And as I say, it does extend up, but it is a bit stiff on mine. And we have all of these. Now I believe, as I say, before my time and not something I was ever a fan of or interested in, that on the original version of this toy, these were spring-loaded. They're not spring-loaded here. They're manually posable, which is, you know, should you be paying for a gimmick that's a bit out of date? Well, we haven't done. And also, it means that these can be posed independently. So, you know, they don't all snap up at once. You can, if you only want 2 out, you can only have 2 out. If you want 2 facing that way and then 2 facing this way, you know, you've got options. They're also blast effect compatible, both on the end and also you can pull them out. This is me making a mess of it, so I'm going to do it with one hand. But you can pull them out and put a blast effect underneath so it looks like it's blasting out. So as you can see, again, there's a range here of play features that actually are enhanced, I would say. The lack of the spring-loaded element, I don't think that detracts from this figure. I think it adds to it, if I'm honest. Now I'm thinking I should have joined that together. I think it adds to it because, as mentioned, this has so much more sturdiness to it than if, because I have looked, obviously, before I committed to purchasing it, I did actually go on and look at the original toys to see what they were like. And from what I can see, and I've never owned it, so this is purely based on my own internet research, it does look like a very accurate representation physically. I know it's a bit larger in proportions, but I think what's really key is how much more, because the thing that I've seen repeatedly is how in the original it's held together with a wing and a prayer. But here I can jiggle this about and it doesn't go anywhere. It's very securely stored. And I have, because of the concerns, I've taken it apart a couple of times and it snaps together really easily. So there's no issues, no concerns as far as I certainly don't have any regarding this vehicle mode staying together. But of course the vehicle mode is only part of this. We also have Core Optimus Prime, his little base mode, and then Super Optimus Prime. So I think the time has come to grab the bull by the horns, or the abs joint, if you know, you know, and you probably know if you're watching this video. So let's get him transformed into core robot mode and take it from there. And here we have RID Optimus Prime all transformed into his core robot mode. And I have to say, I think it's one of the most, considering all things, it's a simplistic transformation, it's a fun transformation. If you take into consideration the stress levels that are associated with the abs section, then that is of course tricky. But all in all, this is a tremendous transformation, and I really love this figure. I was a bit apprehensive, thinking, oh, I'm not gonna like the figure. It's not really my aesthetic. I love it, and I don't know why. There's something about the metallic blues with the standard sort of blue, red, white, sort of silver stuff that goes on with Optimus. But it really, really works for me. And no one, trust me when I tell you this, is more surprised about this revelation than me. Now, before anyone says where was the transformation, if you are familiar with this with my videos, my channel, you know the answer to that question. If you're not familiar, fair enough, I will answer you. I tend to do, apart from very rare exceptions, my transformations off camera, purely because it's often the first time I'm doing it, or there are complications with it and I want to be careful and hesitant and take my time, which if I'm on camera I know can take a while. And even if I do it double time, that can be really frustrating for people watching, and no more frustrating for me doing it. And also I can get performance anxiety with transformations if I know people are watching me do it. And I'd also rather be in a safe space where I can shout and swear and scream and rattle the toy than put you all off for life whilst I'm having my own inadequate moments with it. So that's why, if you're looking for transformation tutorials, there are loads of people who do those and they do them brilliantly. At this stage in my YouTubing, that's not what I'm here to do, but I will always feedback if I have any difficulties or challenges when I am transforming. And for this, there are none. there are none. It's a really straightforward and easy, I would say, transformation. Very intuitive, very straightforward. The only challenge comes with my own apprehension around this bit, and we shall talk about that in a moment. Before we do that, I'm just going to sort of point out that you do have some really good articulation all over the place. The hands don't open and close, which is a bit of a shame, I think, at this price point. There's no reason I can see why that wouldn't happen. They could have done it with this figure. I know it's an additional cost, but I think we paid enough for this to be able to have hands that open and close. But let's get in a little closer to that. Maybe we can't. To that head sculpt. That metallic head sculpt is something else. I love it. Now, it may not be everybody's cup of tea. As I've said before, this isn't really my aesthetic of an Optimus Prime, but I would be lying to you if I did not say that I really love those gold eyes, that beautiful metallic blue head, and that wonderful silver faceplate. It just looks incredible, and it's an aesthetic of the head that is carried throughout. So you can see all the surface detailing there. We've got that chest, and again, I'm going to be controversial. Thing I like is that you can see, because they're faux windows, obviously, but you can see the metallic computer robotic detailing on the other side of those translucent blue panels in the chest. I believe they're painted silver. I know there are some people having issues with the fact that you've got these two holes here, because you think, well, surely this needs to tab into there. Actually, it doesn't make much difference that it doesn't tab into there, because it gives you that breadth of chest. It gives you the breadth of the figure, to be honest. And it also, you have some wonderful sort of reverse butterflies that I think would be hampered if they were clipped in. You know, I just think you'd lose something of that articulation opportunity. So I'm not too fussed about it. I can understand why people don't like it. I can, but for me personally, I'm not too fussed about it. The arms are beautiful. You can see the white and the metallic blue again. That's his pistol. Just because I mentioned it earlier, we're told that it slots in to Optimus in his vehicle mode. It does. Well, it sort of does, but it doesn't really. It's this here. This is what slots in to underneath the front of the truck. It clips in there, so it's not the post. It's nothing else. It's literally this section here that tabs in there, which gives you that front wheel. But at the moment, we don't need it as a front wheel because we're using it as a gun, so that's lovely. We have that nice broad waist with those hips, very chunky, but in a good way, not disproportionately, very good way. We've got the metallic blue again and silver on the legs there. We've got these strange things here, but I've grown to love them. Silver detailing on the inside. There's no hollowness. We've got the feet here, which do have small but beautifully formed ankle tilt. And then if I take you for a little tour around the sides, yes, you can see that where the various parts of the truck have become, but actually it's really great. He's very sturdy, very posable. Again, no hollow parts whatsoever, which for me is a win. This is a nifty touch here because I believe the original had a battery pack here for lights and sound. And it obviously, this doesn't have a battery pack for light and sounds, but they've kept this section here and as part of the backpack and to enable transformation, but it mirrors the original battery pack. So I think that's a really nice touch. Again, you can see all the concealed detailing here on the back of the body that they didn't need to do. Even though it's a Haslab, they didn't really need to do it, but they did it. And it's a really terrific, solid figure. And I have to say, I've really, let me just adjust that slightly because most people are more interested in the head than the legs. I've really enjoyed engaging with this figure. Absolutely fantastic. Really, really great. The abs. This is where some people have been taking it out and finding that it's been cracked, or that they've got a lubrication leak where that seems to be damaged, or if it wasn't damaged in the box, it was damaged when they started using him and transforming him. I've now used that, not thousands of times, but I've done it maybe 15 or 16 times without incident. Now, I always do it very carefully, mindful that the next one could be a problem. But from what I haven't taken him apart, and I have no intention of taking him apart. That is not my bag. It's not something I'm good at. It would be a disaster waiting to happen. But what I have noticed, because when you can actually, if I just move this slightly, this is where his head goes when he's transformed. But you see this section here. This is one of the offending pieces that's supposed to impact on all of the teeth that are inside the red bit, that have been causing the excessive stress and friction that's then damaged the main part of the figure. When I look down that channel, because when it's extended, which is what it needs to be for vehicle mode, I can't see any of those teeth. And what I'm thinking, and of course I could be super wrong and talking out of my hat, but I'm wondering if whether the first wave that were released were enough to trigger international releases or other releases being pulled for the fixes to be made. Maybe it was caught and only some, because to be honest, if we're checking online, I haven't seen, other than the substantial, and to be honest, one is one too many, especially when you've spent the best part of $300 to get this set. One being broken because it's poor manufacturing and poor quality control is one too many. And the fact we saw such an array of people having these issues. But I do wonder whether it was disproportionate in terms of its representation, because over the last 4 or 5 weeks, as I'm recording this in the back end of June 2025, the last 4 or 5 weeks, I've not seen anyone who's received this who's had the issue. Now, I may have missed it, or people may have got bored with posting it online, but I've not seen or heard anyone with this issue. And certainly UK reviewers and collectors who've gone on to post videos have also commented that they haven't had the issue. So I'm quietly optimistic that it was caught and addressed. Now, where I have a frustration, and this isn't you, Optimus, where I have a frustration is that Hasbro haven't said anything. Yes, we know they're aware of the problem. Yes, we know they're trying to do a fix for the problem, and that seems to have disappeared into the ether, unless anyone's heard differently. But what I think would have been really reassuring for the marketplace would be to say, you know what, we are aware that this has happened. We have, however, caught it. So anyone receiving future batches, do not worry, we've addressed it. But they haven't done that. So we're all still playing, joint roulette to see whether or not our particular copies are going to work, or in fact are going to be cracked and at risk of cracking. So again, although mine fit, and look at how sturdy this is, by the way, fantastic. So is this still at risk of cracking? I have to assume that it is until I hear to the contrary, but I don't get any kind of nasty resistance when I utilize the joint. But so far, maybe I've just been lucky. But as those of you who've watched this channel for a while will know, I don't usually get lucky. It's quite the opposite. It's what I usually get. So yeah, I would have thought if it was going to be a cracked one, I would almost definitely have got a cracked one, or one that was susceptible to cracking as soon as you start trying to do it. I maintain I'm still going to carry on being gentle with it and careful with it and cautious with it. I'm not going to sort of bang, bang, bang. I think we should be able to go bang, bang, bang. It should be a robust toy for people to play with. But again, marketplace, this is a collectible. We are likely using it for a variety of things that probably isn't just to play with it in a rough fashion. but that's just my take on it. So I think we're safe. We're in a safe community where people are going to try to not trigger this into cracking if it can be avoided. But it would be lovely, Hasbro, if you could just sort of let us all know. Yeah, don't panic. If it's been shipped abroad, we have in those batches caught the issue and fixed it. Because again, we got a release email saying this is the dates that it's likely to go to these countries and these countries and these countries. Well, to be honest, according to that, I shouldn't have this till next month. For me, it was in the UK, it was supposed to be releasing in July. And here I am in June having received it. So I wonder if they factored in time to do some repairs, managed to do the repairs, and now we've got these enhanced and improved versions of this figure in hand. I just think, I know why you'd sort of close your eyes and hope it would go away, but I just think from a market stability point of view, knowing that you need your Haslabs to sell in the future, I would be owning the fact that, yeah, there's been these issues, but you know what? We fixed it. You shouldn't be having it now. Amen. I really like this guy. I've got to just say it one more time before we move on to the next part of this. I really do like this guy. So I'm not going to keep waxing lyrical about it, but I just think there's something about his aesthetic that is so at odds with what I would like in my Optimus Primes that it makes no sense to me whatsoever why I like it so much. But you know what? I absolutely love it. And I think it is one of the best iterations and certainly one of the most solid iterations of Optimus Prime I think I've ever had. So with that in mind, I'm now going to take a look at his sort of special base that he comes with, and then we'll put him alongside that. So whilst I'm doing that again off camera, this is a perfect opportunity, as you're still here, to just click that like button if you're enjoying and what you're listening to and what you're seeing. But also, if you haven't already, please drop a subscription to the channel, because it helps guys like this get better airtime and more people to see it, and it really strokes my ego. That's partially true. It's actually very, very true, but really it's just to help me get to my next subscriber milestone and help tackle the algorithm, because I'm just a small channel at the moment, but it would really make a difference if you could help me get to my next subscriber milestone. But if not, don't worry, I'm just glad you're here for the ride. This has been Optimus. Now let's look at Optimus's defense base. And I'm just back very quickly to show off this particular version of the core Optimus Prime figure, where these two aspects of the base mode can detach and become shoulder mounted weapons. And again, I think that looks absolutely beautiful. It's reminiscent of a sort of laser Optimus Prime. But yeah, so some massive shoulder pads that contain some lovely metallic blue weapons, missile cartridges that can then be fired off at the Decepticons. That forms part of the dismantled rear section of the trailer of the fire truck that then becomes the battle mode. I think there's a real theme here of weaponization, because we've got Blue Bolts, and she of course is a weaponizer, and almost the rear aspect of Optimus Prime is weaponizery, because it can combine with him to form additional bits of weaponry. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you this mode before I show you the base mode in its entirety. And here it comes. So, super powered Optimus shoulders to one side. This is the defense base, and as you can see, it is big. It goes all the way up and all the way down. So I'm going to pick it up and give you a bit of a show of it. What I might do is take Optimus out so he doesn't pull focus for this bit of the exploration. I'm going to maybe tilt myself down and really zoom in so you can have quite the look at this place. Now, often base modes don't tend to work too well. I'm going to be honest, I think this one does. And as you can see, I've put Cerebros here, and it's probably a good time to look at Cerebros. So there he is. Let's see if I can get nice and close to Cerebros for you. Yeah, the head sculpt is actually not bad at all. I love the colour scheme. He has he's got the conjoined legs of that his breed are known for. There are some moulded in arms there. He does have some head articulation and arm articulation, and so of course the three-way bend with his legs. And on the back he has the head of, in his Cerebros mode, but he has no call for transforming into his head, because there's nowhere to put that on this model. So it's an interesting factor that we've got this figure included, that we can't, other than just positioning him around as a Titan Master, there isn't really anywhere else, or a Headmaster if you like, we can put him. But I will just, for safety, pop him back in this chair for now, so we don't lose him. But this, I think, is a really solid base mode. We've got this panel here, which sits nicely against what would otherwise be the exposed heads, which gives us these cannons. We've got Autobot symbols, which you'll notice, and I didn't want to make a thing of it, but Optimus doesn't have an Autobot symbol on his body, which I don't like that, but there you go. We've got these cannons here, which can rotate and elevate, which gives us that degree of playability. We've got these cannons here. Let's pretend they don't look like fingers. We can have these thumbs folded in, which is kind of what the instructions show, but I'm not sure which one makes it look worse, if I'm honest. I think the hand is, yeah, there we go. I'm not sure which one looks better. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Thumbs in, thumbs out. Not really sure. But I do like, I'm going to turn it around a little bit so you can get some sense of what this looks like as a base. But it does sort of feel like quite the sort of defensible position. You know, you do feel like this is a bit of a fortification. So I kind of like that. It's got different levels, which I appreciate. It's got sort of gantries. It's got the stuff that makes me feel like it's not just something thrown together. It feels like this is some sort of defensible compound. Of course, we go all the way up with this sort of sensor section with those guns at the top. And you know, I just think it looks really, really awesome. So yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of what this looks like. Again, it's interesting because there's not really a huge amount of sort of, because that's Optimus there. So let me just pick it up so you can see. So that's Optimus there. It doesn't really scream compatibility in terms of this is Optimus's defense base. It clearly isn't a base for him to utilize, but it would be one that sort of other Titan Masters could utilize. Maybe some deluxe class figures, core class figures could utilize. But yeah, it's got layers, it's got platform, it's got everything you would want it to have to say effective base mode. We often see base modes being a little bit lackluster, a little bit. This I think actively works. So I'm really pleased with this, because you don't get that very often. But of course, that's not the end of it. This can combine with core Optimus figure that we've just seen into a super robot mode. So our next port of call is the super robot mode. But before I do that, just a comment on the transformation of this. It is very parts forming. You have to essentially dismantle the trailer truck element of the fire truck, take it apart, and then open bits up and put it back together again in a different format. So so that's kind of the aesthetic of the show, because when I've seen the show, things fly apart and then jiggle about and reconnect. So if it could do that, that would be amazing, but it's all manual. And it's the sort of thing that makes me think this is why aspects of this over time will get lost. So if you've got one of these, or if you are smart enough to buy two of these, do mind that. Do keep it safe. These things will get lost. And once you've lost them, you will not be able to get replacement parts easily. And I include within easily, cheaply. So be mindful of that. Anyway, enough of my portents of doom. Let's get him finally into Super Optimus robot mode. And I won't lie, I'm kind of speechless, which is not really what you want for a video where you're supposed to be talking about figures. But this is something else. This is just fantastic. And you know what? If this was the extent of the Haslab, this would, I mean, obviously not for the price, but if this was the extent of the Haslab, you'd be thinking this is amazing. So here we have Optimus Prime in his super mode. where he's combined up fully with the rest of the trailer and that battle station to give us this version. And you can see for scale, I've put Cerebros here. I'll just open him up for you. So here he is, fully extended into his natural mode, and he's, you know, not even as tall as the head. I'll just put him here for safety. But let's just get in and on with this, because there's just too much. In fact, it's probably easier if I go handheld, because there's just so much to say. First of all, check out the head sculpt. Look at that. And you do have full articulation. It's very expressive as a head sculpt. I love the gold eyes in there. The chrome earpieces are amazing. We've got the chrome section, the hot metal stamp here, which, as you probably are aware, underneath is the RID version of the Matrix of Leadership, which is tucked away in there. It can come out, but we're not going to fuss about with that now. He has this sort of bandolier strip, which is what I always think it is, some sort of, you know, because he's such a great fighter. The arms are augmented now. The shoulders are augmented, fantastic abs, also no cracks. The legs, he's now standing on those sort of rocket boosters from his shoulders. This, I mean, even if I pull out slightly so you can get a full up and down pan of this figure, you can see just how incredible that looks. And again, tidy on the back. Yes, you've got this standing there. It actually stands off the ground. Again, what I love is the use of these panels that make sure we don't get any, and it would have been easy to have them, but we don't have any hollow spaces. We don't have any at all. It's fantastic. We've got waist articulation here. We've got shoulders, elbows, hands, unlike his other mode. They're not super articulated, but you've got, well, you've seen them. You've got thumbs and fingers. The rest of the core robot does the same stuff as it did before. You've got ankle articulation. I just sort of want to sit here in awe of this thing. And again, just for sort of comparative scale, here's blue bolts. Please stand, the blue bolts. There you go. There's blue bolts next to that Optimus Prime. So you can see there just how towering this is, which I think is, you know, pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. So again, this is just combining Optimus with Optimus's parts. And as you're aware, this Haslab also has Ultra Magnus, which we're going to look at in the next video. But also Ultra Magnus and this Optimus Prime will combine to form Omega Supreme ultimately. So there you are. So my closing thoughts on this version of Optimus Prime is it's absolutely incredible. I'm super relieved that I don't have the issue of the dreaded abs crunch of death. So I'm kind of super relieved about that. I just think he looks incredible. Super articulate, super well balanced. You can, of course, spin this section over his shoulder and use it as a cannon. You've probably seen a ton of other people doing that. I'm not going to do that. I think it looks a bit dim, to be honest. But you can do it. It's a thing you can do if you want to do it, as people say. But I really like this. I think this whole figure is just superb. And if you'd say to me, is it worth the money? I can only realistically say to you, it absolutely is. Obviously, it feels a lot less worth the money, I'd imagine, if you're one of those people who's got that horrendous problem with the crack. But if you're not, then this is a fantastic purchase. And if you didn't pick it up, folks, I'm really sorry. I think you've missed out on something quite spectacular. Again, I'll just do a little pan up and down so you can get a real sense of that awesomeness of the figure. It really is incredible. It really is incredible. So I'm not going to wax lyrical any more than I have. You've seen Optimus Prime in his various modes as they form part of this particular aspect of his existence. So tell me, what do you think? Do you think this is a fantastic rendition of Robots in Disguise Optimus Prime? Do you think it's a fantastic Haslab? If you discount the issues that some people in the first wave of these releases had, do you think this is a fantastic addition to the Haslab line? I kind of think we have to think that. You know, I think it's amazing. I think what we've got here is incredible. I'm gonna sign off now. I think I've shown you all I can for Optimus. I'm gonna sign off now. Just a reminder, because I feel it was a long time ago, but I said it in this video. But if you do have any queries or questions about this, about Blue Bolts, or about Ultra Magnus, or about Omega Supreme, let me know. Ask them either in the comments here, ask them on my Instagram, Time Traveling Toy Collector. You know, however you want to do it, leave a comment, and I will endeavour to pull them all together for the last video in this line, and answer them there, because again, there might be things that you want to know the answer to that I can't think of. If I can go straight to the comments and answer it immediately, I will. I've done a couple of that already. But again, if you're thinking it, other people might want to be thinking it as well and asking it. So be brave, ask the question, and I'll come back to everybody, either directly in the comments, or I'll pull some of the sort of recurring themes into the last video on this, if there are any. You know, I won't make it up. I've got better things to do. But again, I think this is fantastic. I really think this is an incredible figure, incredible head sculpt and design. I think they've done a really excellent job, barring that unfortunate launch, which was really, really challenging, I think, for them, and certainly for the people who received it. So, thank you for being a wonderful audience. I have been the Triple TC, that is the Time Traveling Toy Collector, and this behemoth has been the various iterations of the Transformers Haslab Robots in Disguise Optimus Prime, part of the Haslab Omega Prime set, released in 2025 from Hasbro and Takara Tomy. I very much look forward to seeing you in a future video, certainly the next video in this series. And it just remains for me to say, and I don't think it's ever been truer, that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care. Bye-bye for now.